Big endorsement in the race for president.
New York Times editorial board has endorsed Senators Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren when it comes to Democratic nomination. The kicker of the endorsement is "May the best woman win." It is big for Senator Amy Klobuchar, of course, who has been kind of low in the polls, in the single digits in most polls. So to get this endorsement,
she's certainly pushing it out and
she
promoting
is
it there.
certainly excited about it.
Right.
But there are others who are saying, okay, if you're deciding to endorse a candidate,
Endorse the candidate.
Yeah,
Candidate.
why endorse two? And they make a case for why they are endorsing two.
Right.
And maybe people will accept this, maybe not.
Well, they don't. This is the first time that they've ever endorsed two candidates, and it's interesting because they frame it in a particular way. As they feel as though there are almost two wings of what the Democratic Party is right now. What they're calling sort of the more radical and the more realistic when it comes to these two candidates.
And they don't mean that pejorative.
No,
I think some people would say like radical. Oh, right.
No, because if you look at all of the candidates in this race, whoever does get the nomination will ultimately be the most progressive candidate that we've seen compared to other presidential candidates over the past few years. But you talk about sort of this wing of the party that maybe the Elizabeth Warren, the Bernie Sanders wing versus the Klobuchar, Senator Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, Vice President Biden wing, and so they wanted to give people two options depending on where you stand within the party, is what the New York Times is saying. I wonder if anyone still cares. Does it still matter?
Well, I think too, when you look at their track record, they normally support kind of who they deem as the more popular person, and they're not necessarily doing that this time around. They also called out Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden for just being too old, and they don't think that they will lead the party in the right direction over the course of the next 4 years, and which is why they decided to endorse Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar.
Right. It's interesting, Riley, because I don't know how much stock people put in a newspaper endorsement anymore. Many newspapers have stopped endorsing because, frankly, it ends up being a big headache for the news organization where people say, well, New York Times is in the tank for Klobuchar and Warren.
But do you think it really, this coming out is going to affect people on how they think or what they vote? I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's really going to change much.
I think your local paper might have more of an impact, if anyone has an impact. But I don't know. I don't know. In this case, there are so many candidates in this campaign that you could see where someone like Amy Klobuchar, who's been, people look at her and they say like, oh, she's interesting, but we don't know.
We don't know if she can win it.
I mean, if the New York Times says, wow, we endorse her, maybe that does make people pay attention.
You've talked to, I've seen stories about the voters in Iowa or the voters in New Hampshire, and a lot of them have not made up their minds yet. So I wonder if something like this is a little thing in the back of their head.
That might sway them in a different
Or they
way.
might do more research about a candidate like Klobuchar. Like Iowa voters might know a lot more about her than, say, New Hampshire voters.
Right,
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.